When we read the word magi, usually we pronounce it as Maggie, which we prepare every day and we have it, which is not good for our health. But still, we prepare that. That is Maggie. But this is not Maggie. This is Magi. What is it? This is Magi, the gift of the Magi. This lesson is written by O. Henry, but actually, that O. Henry is not the real name of the person. Now, let us come to know about that author. What is his real name? Actually, the real name of O. Henry, it was the pen name. It was William Sidney Porter. Okay, so William Sidney Porter's pen name was O. Henry. So, what was the pen name of William Sidney Porter? It was O. Henry. He was born on September 11th, 1862 in Greensboro, North Carolina, and he became famous for his short stories. He was very famous for his short stories. He had written so many short stories. He started the Rolling Stone, a humorous weekly, in 1887, and he was writing for Houston Post. He wrote a story each week for New York World. He has penned more than 600 stories. More than 600 stories are penned by William Sidney Porter, whose pen name was O. Henry. The first collection of his stories appeared in 1904 in Cabbages and Kings, which was immediately popular. Other collections followed. Which were the other collections of him? They were including The 4 Million, The Trimmed Lamp. The Gift of the Magi is also one of the best stories which was penned by William Sidney Porter. Now, the gift of the Magi, right? Magi. Who are those Magi? Just look at glossary. Magi. Actually, this is the plural form. So in the bracket, the pronunciation is given, with phonetical symbol. Magi. What is the singular form? The singular form of this Magi is magus. Who are these Magi? So last year in the lesson, The Goat and the Stars, you would have heard about these Magi. The Magi were the wise men who brought gifts to the newborn Jesus. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in a manger. He did not get the best place while taking birth. So he took birth in just a manger. There, these Magi reached, and they offered him the gifts. According to the Bible, the Magi were three kings. Who were those kings? Those were Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar. Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar, these were the wise men, these were the Magi. These three, or all these three, they went to the baby Jesus Christ who was born in the manger. They traveled to Bethlehem from somewhere. They reached Bethlehem, they reached Jesus Christ was in the manger, the baby was in the manger, and there they offered the gifts. Which were the gifts? The three important gifts which were offered by these Magi to baby Jesus, those were gold, myrrh, and frankincense. These are not important to you, but still, just for your knowledge. You have learned it last year, but just once you recall it. Okay? So, those three, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, were the precious gifts which were offered by these three Magi, to Jesus Christ when he was a baby and when he took birth. Okay? Now, the title, The Gift of the Magi. Are we learning about those Magi here? No. We are learning about some others. Okay? So, in our life, so especially on our birthdays, we wait for gifts. Since morning to evening, we just wait, right? From the morning to till evening, we wait for some gifts. We wait for mother, we wait for father, we wait for grandfather, grandmother, and all. And we wish to have some gifts on that day. Likewise, you too have received so many gifts. Can you please mention me one of the gifts you received which is too precious or which is too important to you? Shantika? Shantika?
Yes, sir.
You have received so many gifts, right?
Yes. Yes.
Which one is the most precious one for you? Which one you like the most?
Sir, in my childhood, my father gave some art kit to me that was so special.
Why it is so special to you?
Because, sir, I love drawing so.
Okay, you love drawing, and that is specially it is given, and that was given by your father, right?
Yes, sir. Father
Yeah,
and mother.
father and mother. So you love it more. Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Tejas will respond me. Tejas,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Can you please mention me one of the gifts which you received from your parents, and tell me why it is important.
Uh,
Respond me soon, please.
sir,
Which one?
sir, they gave me a cycle in my birthday gift.
I did not listen to you correctly. What it was?
They gave me a cycle for a birthday gift.
Okay, bicycle was
Cycle.
given. Bicycle was like was presented by your parents. Why it is important to you in your
Um,
village?
because it my no, sir, it was my first cycle.
Okay, it was your first cycle and it was specially presented by your parents. So that's why you have much more attachment with that, right? Okay, fine. Thank you. Now, here the title says that the gift of the Magi, how Magi had given three gifts, three precious gifts to Jesus Christ. Likewise, in this lesson, we will find two important characters. Actually, we will find three characters here, but the two are leading characters, hero and heroine of the lesson. They are Jim, who was aged about 22 years, and his wife Della. Both were wonderful. Both were loving each other too much. Okay, so they were not ready to leave one another. So that much of great bonding was there in between Jim and Della. But their family condition was so poor. One day, on the day of Christmas Eve, Della thought of giving gift to her husband. And Jim also thought to give a beautiful present or beautiful gift to his wife Della. In Christians, on the day of Christmas, so there is a tradition. It was started from those Magi, okay? Those three Magi, Casper, Melchior, Balthazar, from when they gave gifts, from there it started giving gifts on the day of Christmas. It was started from there. So usually on the day of Christmas, Christians exchange gifts with each other. Likewise, they too wanted, Jim and Della too wanted it. But because of their poverty, did they purchase those presents or not? That is the main thing. So now let us get started. Hope you have the textbook before you. Just keep it before you and underline the lines which are very important. Okay, now let us begin. The Gift of the Magi, written by O. Henry. $1.87. That was all. And 60 cents it was in pennies. Pennies saved one and two at a time by bulldozing the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned with the silent imputation of parsimony that such close dealing implied. Three times Della counted it. $1.87. And the next day would be Christmas. On which day it was? The counting was done. The counting of the coins was done on the day of Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas, or December 24th is named as Christmas Eve. The day before will be called as Christmas Eve. So on that day, Della counted the money. $1.87. How much of money was there? There was only $1.87. So cent means it is a hundredth of a dollar. Okay. So how much of money was there with her? There was only $1.87. That was all. Not more than that. And 60 cents of it was in pennies. 60 cents of it in the smallest pieces of some money, pennies. Pennies saved means the money, this money, $1.87, it was saved one and two at a time. One and two at a time by bulldozing. What is meant by bulldozing? Bulldozing means arguing forcefully. By arguing forcefully with whom? With the butcher and with the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher. Butcher means the person who sells meat. How did she save that money? By bulldozing the grocer. How did Della save her money? Della saved $1.87 by bulldozing the grocer, or by arguing forcefully with the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned. What is mean by until one's cheeks burned? Means she felt ashamed. She was ashamed of this. Yeah, she was embarrassed. She was ashamed. She was ashamed to bulldoze or make bargain with the butcher, with the grocer, and the vegetable man, with the silent imputation of parsimony. Parsimony, meanness in spending. With this parsimony, she did she did that bargain, and her cheeks burned until one's cheeks burned. Her cheeks burned because with silent imputation of this parsimony. That such close dealing. What is the close dealing here? That stingy bargain is the close dealing. That implied, indirectly expressed that stingy bargain in that. So whenever she was going to purchase materials, she was making bargain and she was saving money. With that bargain, whatever the money was saved, that she was collecting. So with that, she got this $1.87. And the next day would be, three times Della counted. Usually when we have less money or more money, what do? We just count it again and again. Correct? If we have 1,000 rupees, we count all the notes once again, repeatedly. Like that, Della counted that $1.87 for three times. Did anything change? Did she get more? No, she didn't. $1.87. That's it. Not more than that. And the next day would be Christmas. Why Christmas? Because she wanted to purchase a gift. For whom? For her husband. That was Jim. Then, second paragraph. There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little coach and howl. So Della did it, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of sobs, sniffles, and smiles, with sniffles predominating. What is meant by Flop down. In the glossary, it's given as fall down. Then sniffles means sniffing repeatedly while crying. While crying, what? How do we cry? Like this, sniffing repeatedly while crying. We cry with sniffing. So draw in air audibly with the nose. With the nose, we take a deep breath. Like this, we cry. Like that, there was clearly nothing to do. She didn't have any other option here. Only the option was just falling down on what? Falling down on the shabby little coach. Shabby means worn out. So worn. It was not in a right order. The coach or the bed which was there, or the sofa which was there, it was not in a right condition. So on that, she had to fall down. She fell down on that and howled more than roaring. There was no other go for Della, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of sobs. Yes, it incite to revolt, which incites the moral reflection, the person's condition. Moral reflection here, the person's condition, that life is made up of sobs. Now all these thinkings, um, the words or the thoughts were coming to the mind of Della. What were they? Life is made up of what? Life is made up of sobs. Means sob means cry, making a loud cry, and sniffles and smiles. Yes, smile is there, sobs are there, sniffles are there. But which predominates? Which leads or which takes the major part? Sniffles takes the major part. That predominates in poverty. So when you are poor, you will have opportunity, lots of opportunity for sniffles, not for smiles. That's what the condition of Della. Third paragraph. While the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to the second, take a look at the home. A furnished flat at $8 per week. It did not exactly beg a description, but it certainly had that word on the lookout for the mendicancy squad. So what happened there? While the mistress of the home, now, so you have taken the look of Della. Della's condition is known to you now. Now take another look of the house. While the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding, as she is becoming silent, as she is falling silent from first stage to the second. Now just take a look of what? At the home. A furnished flat at $8 per week. How much they were paying? They were paying $8 per week. That means if there are 4 weeks, 8 fours are 32. So $32. So here $8 per week they were paying. It did not exactly beg a description. Beg a description means impossible to describe in words. It was the condition of the home was very difficult to explain in words, but it certainly had that word on the lookout for the mendicancy squad, means beggars. It was like beggar's house. Not exactly, but you don't, I too don't have much more words about that. The condition of the house was so pitiable. Fourth paragraph. In the vestibule below was a letter box into which no letter would go, and an electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring. Also appertaining thereunto was a card bearing the name Mr. James Dillingham Young. In the vestibule means in the entrance. Vestibule means entrance. In the entrance below was a letter box. How was it? Was it in a good condition? There was a letter box, but it was not working. It was not in a working condition. The letter box into which no letter would go into that letter box. And an electric button. There was an electric button. Did it ring? Did it make any sound? No, it did not. Sorry, which no mortal finger, no human finger could coax a ring or force. So coax a ring, succeed in making it ring. No human could coax that ring, coax that bell, or coax a ring, or no person wouldn't be able to make it ring. Also appertaining thereunto means connected to. So to connect it to this, there was a card. What was written on that? On that card, the name was written, that was Mr. James Dillingham Young. What was written on that? James Dillingham Young. Great name, long name, right? The card was there. Fifth paragraph. The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its processor was being paid $30 per week. Dear children, if meeting ends in 5 minutes, just rejoin, okay? The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its possessor was being paid $30 per week. Now, when the income was shrunk to $20, though they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest and unassuming D. But whenever Mr. James Dillingham Young came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Della, which is all very good. So, the Dillingham means here the name which was written on that card that had been flung. Actually, fling is the woven form of flung. Fling means to throw or hurl forcefully. It was hurling forcefully. It was moving forcefully to the breeze, to the cold breeze, during a former period of prosperity. So when this family was in prosperity, when it had riches, when its possessor, who was that possessor? That was Jim. When he was in a good condition, it was okay. It was flung. Yeah, it had been flung to the breeze. But when he was being paid $30 per week, when he had $30 per week, family's condition was very good. It was okay. It was okay to have that long name, Dillingham. But now, when the income was shrink is the V1. When the income became low, when the income got decreased to what? To $20, from 30 to 20, though they were thinking seriously of contracting. Yes, they were thinking to make that Dillingham into just a D. They didn't wish to have that long name. First of all, family's condition was not good. In that way, even in that condition,